Okay, guys, today and tomorrow we are going to be going over our relationships between sets of rational numbers. This is 7-2A. You don't have to worry about that, but this is what we're going. So we're starting brand new this school year this year, and this is our first lesson that we're learning today. So pay attention. We're going to talk about what sets and subsets are first, okay? So a set, if we look at that, is a collection of distinct objects. In this case, and then what we're talking about, that's a collection of numbers. Okay, so that's all a set is a collection of numbers. A subset is all of the elements that are contained completely within another set. So it's a set, there are two different sets, and then one set is contained completely within another set. Okay, we're going to go over some examples coming up. Okay, so we have one set. Our very first set we're going to learn about is natural numbers. Okay, natural numbers are all our counting numbers starting at 1. That means they're 1, 2, 3. So anything you use to count objects like people or pencils or your dogs or pets, anything like that, those are natural numbers. And there's an infinite amount of them because I can keep on counting, and there's always going to be another number after that. Okay, our next one is whole numbers. So whole numbers are like our natural numbers. It includes all of them. So look at natural numbers is a subset of whole numbers because whole numbers includes all of the natural numbers. And then on natural numbers, they add on 0. And that's the only number that's in whole numbers that's not a natural number, okay? And then we have integers. So now we're looking at integers. This includes all our whole and natural numbers. So natural numbers and our whole numbers are both subsets of integers. Okay, integers add on all of our negative numbers. So now we've had 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're going to go backwards and we're going to go add on -1, -2, -3, -4. Okay, and then our last set that we're going to go over is rational numbers. Rational numbers are any number that can be represented as a fraction. It includes all natural numbers, whole numbers, and integers. Okay, so natural numbers, whole numbers, and integers are all subsets of rational numbers. Okay, so rational numbers is our biggest set that we know, and then it has subsets of natural numbers, whole numbers, and integers inside of it. Okay, and all of these numbers can be represented as a fraction. So if I can write it in a fraction, then it is a rational number. These add on both fractions and decimals. So if I see fractions in here, if I see a fraction, that's a rational number. If I see a decimal, that's a rational number. But our one thing that we need to remember is when we are looking at decimals, if they are repeating decimals, it's still a rational number. So if it has that little bar over it, and I'll show you in one of our examples, that means it's a repeating decimal and it's a rational number. And terminating is a big word, I know. Terminating means that it ends. So if it keeps on going on and on and on, and it has an infinite end, it doesn't ever end, that means it's not a rational number. But these terminate. That means there's a definitive end to that decimal. So that means it's a rational number. Okay, now we're going to look at our models of sets and subsets. So our models, this is how we represent our sets and subsets. So we're going to look at it. So we're going to start with our natural numbers because that's the very, very innermost set of all of our rational numbers. This is usually represented by an n. So if you see an n somewhere, that means they're talking about natural numbers. So natural numbers can be anything like 368, 7, 1, 4, or 1,000. Any of those numbers are all natural numbers because they're all natural numbers. They are also called counting numbers. So if I can use them and I can use them to count things, then it's a natural number. So if you see counting numbers, know that means it's natural as well. Then look, we added on whole numbers now. So you see we have whole numbers here and natural numbers is contained within it. That's because natural numbers is a subset of whole numbers, okay? And whole numbers are represented by that W right there. So if you see the W, that means we're whole numbers. And the only number we're adding on into whole numbers is 0. So 0 should be the only thing that gets represented here. And then my next one, integers. Integers is the very next one. So we have natural numbers very inside, and then whole numbers after that, and then integers is outside of all of that because whole numbers and natural numbers are subsets of integers. And integers are going to be represented by the letter Z. I know, it's weird, but that's what it is. I don't know why they said it. So we're going to do Z. Just know that's what integers are. Okay, integers add on negatives like -1, -35. It still includes 649 because that's a natural number, so those are included as well. Okay, and then our very last set that we talked about, rational numbers. Rational numbers are all the way up here. Okay, and they're represented by, they're things like 1.45, -0.25, 0.3 repeating. Remember that line I was talking about? If that line is above the number, that means it's repeating. 0.3 repeating is 1/3, so it can be written as a fraction. So that's why it is a rational number. 3/1. So we know 3/1. It's just like saying 3 divided by 1 is 3. That's a whole number, and a natural number, but we can write it as a fraction just putting it over 1. So that makes it a rational number. Or -11/4. That's going to end up being a mixed number if I reduce it because the bigger number is on top. But it's still a rational number because I can write it as a fraction. And then 4/9. That's a fraction, so that means we can have it as a rational number. Okay, and that's the end. I think there was a little mess up with the rational numbers and integers. I'll get back to you and I'll make sure that I put the corrections in there and tell you exactly what the letters are. But for now, that's the end. Make sure you do your little activity that I've put in, and I hope that everything is going well. Thank you. We are done.